Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We have so many auspicious days in our Vaishnav calendar, and especially during this month of Kartik. And today is one of them. Today is Gopastami, the 8th day of the waxing moon in the month of Kartik, which commemorates Krishna beginning to take care of cows. And I'm going to read Srila Prabhupada's, the BBT translation of the verse and the purport from the verse. Canto 10, chapter 15, Canto 10, chapter 15, text number 1. When Lord Rama and Lord Krishna attained the age of Poganda, 6 to 10, while living in Vrindavan, the cowherd men allowed them to take up the task of tending the cows. Engaging thus in the community, the company of their friends, the two boys rendered the land of Vrindavan most auspicious by imprinting upon it the marks of their lotus feet. And the BBT purport reads, Lord Krishna wanted to encourage his cowherd boyfriends who had been swallowed by Aghasura and then stolen by Brahma. Therefore, the Lord decided to bring them into the palm tree forest called Talavan, where there were many delicious ripe fruits, since Lord Krishna's spiritual body had apparently grown slightly in age and strength. The senior men of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj, decided to promote Krishna from the task of herding calves to the status of a regular cowherd boy. He would now take care of full-grown cows, bulls, and oxen. Out of great affection, Nanda Maharaj had previously considered Krishna too small and immature to take care of full-grown cows and bulls. It is stated in the Kartik Mahatmya of the Padma Purana, quote, "The 8th lunar day of the bright fortnight of the month of Kartik is known by authorities as Gopastami. From that day, Lord Vasudeva served as a cowherd, whereas previously he had tended the calves." The word padai, that's 10:15:1, the word padai indicates that Lord Krishna blessed the earth by walking on her surface with his lotus feet. The Lord wore no shoes or other footgear, but walked barefoot in the forest, giving great anxiety to the girls of Vrindavan who feared his soft lotus feet would be injured. Gopastami. I had to do a fair amount of research to get a better picture of Gopastami and what it means, because I was familiar before this research with a section for Gopal Champu, which we'll read this morning, of a festival that took place when Krishna began herding calves. And so rather than, because of time limitation, there's a lot of understanding. I'm going to read that whole section from Gopal Champu. I think you'll appreciate it. Before Krishna became a cowherd boy, he was a calf herd, or Vatsa Pa. And this is from Padma Purana. Yeah, that same section. On this day, the Gopastami day, Vasudeva, who was previously known as Vatsapa, received the appellation of Gopa. He graduated, he got a certificate, Gopa certificate. Whoever desires to fulfill his wishes should honor, feed, circumambulate, and serve cows on this occasion. That's from both Padma Purana and Kurma Purana. So now there's a little confusion. I hope you don't mind confusion. It does happen. There's a standard system for aging and names that go with that, Sanskrit names that go with that aging, from, up until 5, and then from 6 to 10, and so forth. So the confusion is Krishna grew up quickly. He was little, not just, he's the Supreme Lord, so he can do anything. He aged according to what we'll read shortly. He was 1.5 times what anyone else his age was. So when he was 4, he was 6. In his, you could say, child development. Normally, the Poganda begins at 6. The 5th year ends, that's the Kumara age, 5th year. And at the end of the 5th year, the 6th year begins, that's Poganda. And that lasts for 5 years. And when the 11th year begins, that's Kishore. And Bala must fit in there somewhere. But Kumara, Poganda, Kishore. But Krishna developed quickly. And I'm going to read, there's lots of detail. Devotees sometimes like detail, and sometimes devotees get bewildered with detail. So if you want detail, you can go to Canto 10, Chapter 45, text number 3, 1045.3. And Vishwanath, it's where Krishna is going to start going to school. He's in Mathura, Kamsa has been killed, Vasudeva and Devaki. They want to see him receive his Upanayana, because he's already 12. And traditionally, according to many references, in the Kshatriya community, that's when the boy is given Upanayana at 12. Now, previously he was in Braja, and he was living amongst the cowherds, and he could have received Upanayana by the son of Gargamuni. Son of Gargamuni's name is escaping me. He is the one that performed the yajna. Can't remember his name. He could have received initiation, Gayatri initiation, but he didn't. He didn't get that until he was in Mathura, and his age was 12. He had just finished his 11th year. Then comes this little complicated, well, this is what Krishna says to his mother and father. Krishna says, this isn't the translation, it's Vishwanath. Because of your anxiety for us, speaking to Vasudeva Devaki, you never experienced the happiness of raising us through Balya, Poganda, and Kaishora. Childhood, boyhood, and youth. Balya, Poganda, and Kaishora. Indicating he's now past Kaishora age, because you missed it. It's over. However, so the detail is when Krishna is entering the wrestling arena of Kamsa, the elder women of Mathura, they object, saying, Krishna and Balaram have very tender limbs, being still at the Kaishora age, not yet having reached adolescence. Yovana. So there's details which I'm not going to go through because it's a little complicated, but it's because the difference is because Krishna matured quickly. So there's statements over here and the statements over there that don't match, and the resolution of them is Krishna matured early, and he gives scriptural references about that. So now I'm just going to read one paragraph from this commentary, 1045.3. At the age of 3 years, 4 months, Krishna displayed the qualities of a 5-year-old. While spending his Komara age in Mahavan. Then they shifted, 3 years, 4 months. The period from then to the age of 6 years, 8 months, double, during which he lived in Vrindavan, constitutes his Poganda age. The period from 6 years, 8 months through his 10th year, and some number of months, during which time he lived at Nandishwar or Nandagram, constitutes his Kaishora age. Then, at the age of 10 years and 7 months, on the 11th lunar day of the dark fortnight of the month of Chaitra, Krishna went to Mathura. And on the 14th day thereafter, he killed Kamsa. Thus, by Krishna's maturing fast standard, Krishna completed his Kaishore period at the age of 10. And he eternally remains at that age. In other words, we should understand that from this point on, Krishna remained forever Kishora. And he gives references from Pradumna in Dwaraka and his age, and they mistook Pradumna, who was Krishna's son, for Krishna, but he was only 12. Anyway, back to Gopastami. I'll just read. The first hint of Krishna's maturity is given in the Bhagavatam, where Shukadev tells Maharaj Parikshit that Krishna began crawling very soon after Garga Muni performed the name-giving ceremony for Nanda's sons, Krishna and Balaram. How old was Krishna when he started crawling? A few months, 40 days plus a little bit more. Yet he began crawling about. And very soon after that, he began walking. And then there's, Shukadev says, within a very short time, both Krishna and Balaram, while still in Gokula, very easily began walking on their legs without having to crawl. Specific, that's a verse spoken by Shukadev. Soon after Krishna began walking, it was decided by the elders that the community of cowherds should move to Vrindavan. That was 3 years, 4 months. Then they reached Vrindavan, and Krishna had a desire to herd the cows. There's very beautiful description in Gopal Champu that he would go with his father, and Balaram would go with their father Nanda, and they were so inclined for cow herding that they kind of just went and started herding their own group of cows amongst the 900,000 cows. And Mother Jasoda came to know about that, and she let her husband know. She didn't think that was good. The cows are so big. So Krishna wanted to herd the cows. The story goes like this. He said to Yasoda, I want to herd the cows. And she said, the cows are so big. They have big horns. She said, no. So he went to Nanda. And Nanda was watching him doing what he was doing. We're going to hear from Gopal Champu. It has more detail. And he finally said, you know what? You can herd the calves. 3 years, 4 months. But you have to come back for lunch. You can't stay out. So they had a big festival. It's described, Gopal Champu. Big festival. And gifts were given, and including Mother Jasoda gave shoes and an umbrella. Good, hot sun, little boy. And he refused to wear the shoes. It's a nice description. He said, if I'm going to wear shoes, only if each of the calves have shoes. And, Not Nike shoes. And Mother Jasoda said, but nature has already made an arrangement. Just see, they already have shoes. He said, I'm not going to wear shoes. Every one of the calves has shoes. And the umbrella, you have to have an umbrella because I can't be above the cows. So that was 3 years, 4 months. And that marks the time, the final portion of his Kumara stage, 3 years, 4 months. So he began herding calves. And then the herding of the calves is when the Brahma Vimohan Leela takes place. It's still calves. You know, Brahma stole the calves and the cowherd boys. So then there's 1 year that passed. So he's almost 5 now when that's over. And that's when this Gopastami event took place. We heard that after the situation of entering into the mouth of Aghasura and all of that, Krishna wanted his cowherd boy friends to be more peaceful, so he took them to Talavan, and all that happened. Then comes Gopastami. Yeah. So these are events now that he's in his Kaishore period and he's just entering his Poganda period, which began when he was 5, which is early for most boys. And that, according to one reference, it lasted for a full 4 years. Excuse me. Let's go to Gopal Champu. This is a narrative. I don't know if you're a little familiar with Gopal Champu. It's Jiva Goswami's writing, and it marks Krishna after killing Dantavakra. He goes to Braja for 2 months. And while he's in Braja, there's 2 disciples of Narada Muni that narrate Krishna's pastimes in Braja to all the Brijbasis. I mean, Nanda's there, Jasoda's there, Radharani's there, everybody's there. And these 2 narrators are Snigdhakanta and Madhukanta. They're introduced at the beginning. And each day they narrate something. So this is chapter 12. Snigdhakanta, it's in the morning, everyone's assembled. Though Krishna and Balaram's age was reckoned as 3 years, now we're going back, since time passed quickly according to the Bhagavatam, 10.8.26, their Kumara period was extended an extra year. That's the Brahma Vimohan Leela and that event. At the request of the calves requested, and the boys, the Kumara age remained for another 1 year, till the 4th year, since it passed in a moment because of Krishna's and the boys' lack of enjoyment during that year. At the request of Krishna, Balaram also responded in the same way. Then the Poganda age became fully manifest for 2 years, 4th and 5th year. Jiva Goswami, a little inconsistent with some of the other things. Because of the quick appearance of the Kaishora period after the joy of living together with friends. We will speak of this after the killing of Dhenaka. Thus, mention of time passing quickly is appropriate in the Bhagavatam, which now he's going to refer to the Brahma Vimohan Leela. 10:13:40. When Brahma returned after a moment of time had passed, according to his measurement, Brahma saw that although by human measurement a complete year had passed, Lord Krishna, after all that time, was engaged just as before in playing with the boys and calves who were his expansions. Now remember, we're reading Gopal Champu. This is the Gopastami section, and he's giving the prelude. Then again, the verse that we read at the beginning of this morning's class, 10:15:1, translation. When Lord Rama and Lord Krishna attained the age of Poganda, 6, while living in Vrindavan, so he just passed the 5th year, the Brahma Vimohan Leela thing happened, it was over now. And so they just entered the 6th year. While living in Vrindavan, the cowherd men allowed them to take up the task of tending the cows. Engaging thus in the company of their friends, the two boys rendered the land of Vrindavan most auspicious by imprinting upon it the marks of their lotus feet. Oh, that was a warm-up. And then he says, now we will return to the topic. When Krishna and Balaram, attracting the minds of all, played in this way, the 5th year, the last year of Kumara, finally arrived. When all people perceived that in that year Krishna remained as in the previous year and the year previous to that, he suddenly took on the beauty of Poganda age and left the Kumara age. He's transitioning from 5 to 6. When Krishna and Balaram reached the Poganda age and their intelligence increased, Krishna's blackness and Balaram's whiteness defeated their luster in the Kumara period. Their chests increased in size, and their eyes and other limbs became longer. Their hair and clothing became more elaborate. They became more skillful at learning new types of play. Affection increased. This makes me desire to see them, Snigdhakanta is saying. One day, Yashoda came into the assembly in the morning. Now, Nanda has 4 brothers, or there's 5 brothers total, that gives the names of them in this narration. The wife of Abhinanda inquired from Yashoda, "Oh, mother of Krishna, where did your son Krishna go without delay early in the morning?" Yashoda smiled and spoke, "Oh, up till now, I have completed all the tasks, such as rubbing his body with oil, bathing him and dressing him. Now, however, being somewhat embarrassed in front of me, he has become affectionate to his servants, and after completing those tasks, comes to me. He then honors me, Nanda and other elders, by offering deep respects. Until he killed Aga, I would think of his return in the evening, and when he returned with the calves, I would circle water over him 3 times and drink it, according to local tradition. But now, though I am more careful and forbid him from many things, he is beyond my control. The same goes for Rohini's son." The women, hearing this new description, looked at her face and smiled. Yashoda spoke again. "Understanding that this is the quality of a person beyond infancy, I am happy, but he causes me great suffering." Everyone said with concern, "Why is that?" She said, "He now desires to herd the cows while not paying attention." The women said, "You should not worry about this. This is the nature of children born of cowherds. One cannot see absence of herding cows anywhere. This is the remarkable nature of the cowherd boys and of Krishna also." The assembly of Nanda also discussed the nature of Krishna. So now it's over to the men's side. Nanda, giving joy to the assembly, spoke to two other brothers, Sananda and Nandana, with a gentle smile. Oh, long-lived brothers, I can see that Krishna, who acts like a newborn child, does not behave in the same way to me as he does to you. He looks at me with slightly contracted eyes and speaks to you with sweet words. Sananda said, that is proper, since you are most worthy of respect. You are serious about giving instructions to him, but we cannot think of giving him orders, though he is of Kumara age. Just see, although very young, Krishna offers respects to his mother and then to you as his father. Then he offers respects to each friend every day at dawn. When Upananda, Abhinanda, and others voiced the same opinion one after another, and then remained silent in order to hear Nanda, Nanda, listening to the descriptions from other persons, while gently smiling to reveal his bliss, spoke to Sananda and Nandana. You too, with great intent, follow Krishna and Balaram endowed with pleasure, wide eyes, from the beginning of the day, begging them to follow instructions. But after 3 days, searching for them, you saw the brothers far away. What else can be said? They weren't submissive to these two. Nandana said, what can be said about their actions now? For a long time, the two boys have had increased their desire. We should not tell you to restrict the boys. They're growing up and they're becoming a little more independent, and let him grow up and become a little independent. Nanda said, then what should be done? Nanda said with a smile, I told them that they should herd the cows. Upananda said, what did they say? Nanda said, they said they had just passed 1 year of age. It is improper for them to herd the cows like the elders. Hearing them speak in this way and looking at their faces, Nanda remained silent and was astonished. Everyone began speaking. Quote, this is what everyone's saying. Though they act like newborn children, they show intelligence and strength beyond their years. This astonishes us, but it is not so astonishing because it has been produced by your great austerities. They have had no assistance in killing demons. This can only be auspicious. One day, while alone, Nanda made a proposal to his wife. The two discussed, out of love for their son, let us wait for the best time. Gopastami. Several days later, in the shining assembly, when they saw the surprising features of Nanda, the elder cowherds glanced at each other, smiled. When Nanda asked with a smile why they were laughing, they said, it seems that Krishna has forgotten us and you also. Nanda said, please speak the truth. Everyone said, though this has happened long before, you have noticed it while herding the cows. The cows follow no other person except him. Today he is in front and dispatched the cows with difficulty. Nanda said, why has this happened suddenly? They all said, when your son shows affection for anything, It behaves this way. Nanda said, should we hold a celebration of cow herding? They all said, when there is no alternative, one must act. What you fear will not be insignificant, so it'll be significant, even if they herd only the calves. But your austerities will torture the enemies. Therefore, you should give permission. By that permission, you will destroy all inauspiciousness. Immediately on hearing this, Nanda gave consent in the assembly. Upananda and others, on gaining consent, became happy and inquired from the famous astrologers. The astrologers advised that the two boys should begin herding cows on the 8th lunar day of the waxing moon of the Kartik month, during Shravan constellation, on Wednesday. On hearing the auspicious moment chosen, the wise derive pleasure. Nanda and others then gave the responsibility of herding the cows to Krishna after he had surpassed the happiness of herding the calves by holding a huge festival in Vraja lasting 3 days with the sound of drums. If each speaker's mouth became 10,000 and their lifespan lasted then thousands of years, they could describe only one day of Krishna's herding the cows. The description of their new job. So it goes on. Gopastami is past, and it's going to, the next is describing their cow herding activities. I'll just read a little bit, two sections, and we'll move on. Wearing new cowherd dress and protective herbs, receiving blessings from the Brahmanas, being worshipped with lamps on an auspicious day, Krishna departed with the cows, along with Balaram, after hearing sweet songs and seeing dances to the sounds of continuous music. The arrangements for going to the forest were as follows: putting the priests in front with songs, music, and auspicious verses, bringing the cows near and worshiping them by offering foot wash and arghya, feeding them sweet chickpeas, respecting them with obeisances and circumambulation, and then offering the same respects to the priests. Krishna, with his elder brother, remained standing in front of Nanda, who had his hands folded. Nanda offered him a jeweled stick, and Yashoda put tilak on his forehead. Quote, "Oh, Balaram, remain in front of your friend Krishna. Oh, Subal, stay behind him. Oh, Dhamma and Sudama, you two should remain at his sides, and all others remain around him." Instructing the children and assigning them their jobs, she showered them with her tears. Women who were given great wealth by Rohini met with the wife of Upananda, while the earth and heavens performed various auspicious acts, offering respects to his mother and father, as well as others. In the midst of great clamor and festivities, Krishna was ready, saying, Jihi, Jihi, whatever that means. What does it mean? Does it mean something in Hindi?
It means like, yes, I accept.
I accept. He sent off the cows, but they remained in front of him and did not go. Seeing that this was unsuitable, he sent the elders into their houses and departed in front of the cows. When Krishna slowly walked in order to see the calves in front, then the cows began to follow. Knowing that the elders wanted to follow Krishna and Balaram discouraged them from doing so. Freeing themselves from the iron chains of the elders' glances, they laughed loudly and sported with their frolicking friends, who were effulgent with their new occupation as cowherds. He's 6. Stopping the cows so that they could graze, fulfilling their desires, they walked towards Govardhan. There they gathered and separated the cows by making special sounds and never used the sticks to beat them. There the boys became absorbed in decorating themselves, rejoicing and playing with Krishna and Balaram to produce a great festival. Seeing this, the Devatas described the scene. So it goes on. This is their first day. Because of time, it's already 20 minutes before the hour. I'm going to go to another section, which is another pastime that takes place on Gopastami Day. And it's a Radharani story. And if you go online, those of you that are viewing and listening, go to the Krishna Balaram Mandir website, take a look at the images of the deities today, and you'll see Radharani dressed as Subal. Now, I have on my computer here one image where there's one temple where Radharani is holding, in addition to being dressed like Subal, she's holding a calf. And the story goes like this. One time, Radharani was restricted from leaving her house by her mother-in-law, Jatila, and she was unable to meet with Krishna. Krishna was also feeling great separation from Radharani, and he was weeping and calling out her names in great distress. Krishna's dear friend, Subal, saw. And one of the things that Subal does is he likes to assist Krishna in his pastimes. So he reassured Krishna he would figure out a way that he could meet with Radhika today. So what did he do? Subal went to Radha's house. And when he went to Radha's house, he was confronted by Jatila. And Jatila, in a haughty tone, asked, "Why have you come here?" And he said that there's a calf from his herd that entered in their house. Now, houses aren't like we have in the West here. But so she said, "All right, you go get the calf and then you leave quickly." So what did Subal do? He went into the house, into the courtyard of the house area, and the friends of Radha helped him. He entered into the room where Srimati Radharani was through a window. And then Subal explained what's going on with Krishna. And when Radharani heard what's going on with Krishna, her distress doubled. But Subal had a plan. She said, Radha expresses the difficulty she has due to her mother-in-law's behaviors and strictness. So Subal made a suggestion. The suggestion was they change clothes. He would wear Radha's clothes and she could wear his clothes. So they went to in the room and they changed. And the gopis were very happy with this idea. After they got dressed, then a young calf was arranged so that Radha, well, Subal, Radha, dressed like Subal, could walk with the calf around her chest, so Jatila wouldn't figure it out. This is not Subal, this is Radha. So then she went to meet with Krishna, disguised as Subal. She even spoke in the voice of Subal. But when she reached Krishna, she spoke in Subal's voice. This is very nice. To increase the rasa of the meeting, she came before Krishna in her disguise as Subal, speaking in the voice of Subal. And with a sorrowful expression, she said that she had been unable to bring Srimati Radhika. Hearing this statement, Krishna, who had become hopeful of meeting Sri Radha, upon seeing Subal, became even more distressed, knowing that his friend had been unable to bring Radha to meet him. Seeing this, Srimati Radharani smiled with her beautiful lips, red as bimba fruits, and displaying a row of shining white teeth, which appeared like a row of precious pearls, she embraced Krishna with her graceful lotus stem-like arms. Being embraced by her, Sri Krishna immediately felt pleasure and satisfaction in his heart and realized that it was Srimati Radharani herself in the form of Subal. He was immersed in an ocean of joy, being able to meet his most beloved, Govinda Mohini. In this way, the divine couple met on this auspicious day of Gopastami by Radhika disguising as Subal in order to escape the strict constraints of her mother-in-law. I'll send to you, there's two. One is a painting of this pastime. Another is, I don't know which deity, some Radharani somewhere where deity. She's holding a calf in her arms like this. And you can go online and find Radharani dressed in a dhoti and kurta and in Vrindavan. She looks very happy. So that's our discussion on Gopastami Day. We have a little bit of time if there's some discussion. Those of you that are listening remotely, you can send something into the chat box and we'll read it out loud for you. Anyone in the room who would like to discuss something? Go ahead.
While Krishna was, thank you for the question, which possibly if I didn't know the first section of it. The question is, until he was in Braja, he had this experience and mellows of a cowherd boy. So when he moved on to Dwarka, was it a similar kind of mellows he tried to get in that like it's a different position in Dwarka and how he took care of the cowherd activities and how was his reflection towards others.
How is his reflection towards what?
What was his activity towards Brajvasis?
Oh, you can read about that in Brihad Bhagavatamrita or in Lalita Madhava. His attitude towards them was quite similar to their attitude towards him. He would externally go through doing his duties in Dwarka, and internally he was absorbed in thoughts of them. At the end of Brihad Bhagavatamrita Part 1, Narada is going from this place to that place, searching for the greatest recipient of Krishna's mercy. He finally makes it to Dwarka, and amongst the residents of Dwarka, they all turn to Uddhava. He's the most exalted amongst them. And something very strange happens when Narada reaches. Krishna doesn't show up. And they find out why Krishna didn't show up. He was unable, he was on the ground unconscious. There's a long description of how they helped him become again conscious. It's a very interesting description. Balaram took him to a place that they called Nava Vrindavan, and Krishna, when Krishna heard the mooing of the cows and so forth and so on, he regained consciousness, and he didn't know where he was and so forth and so on. And then he gradually started to realize this was not really Vrindavan. There was a statue of Nanda and Jasoda, and he was appealing to them as if they were Nanda and Jasoda. It's like really far out. And it was all orchestrated to bring him to external consciousness. So then he went back to Dwarka city and called for his queens. He wanted to tell them, he wanted to express to them and explain to them his feelings for Vrindavan, and specifically his feelings for the gopis. So when he gives this explanation, he's explaining in very vivid terms his feelings for the residents of Vrindavan, and specifically for his feelings for the gopis. That you'll find it at the end of Brihad Bhagavatamrita Part 1.
There is a question in the audience.
How did Jitendra become Arun of Radha?
Well, because Radharani became the so-called wife of Abhimanyu, so the so-called mother-in-law was Jatila. That's how.
Any other questions from those on the Zoom?
Yes?
The discussion between the Nanda Maharaj and the brothers about what to do when the situation arises. Krishna did not listen, not to go for cow herding. There was this small statement, there is no choice.
It is a little confusing, but what I could gather from it, because it's described elsewhere, that Gopal Champu section, is they understood, the brothers understood that you can't hold them back. He wants to go, the cows don't want to go anywhere without Krishna, so you have to let him go. You have to let him go. He had already decided with Mother Yasoda, although we have our concern for his safety, etc., we can't hold him back. But they're waiting for the right time, the right circumstance, and the consensus of everybody. And when they got the consensus, they had the big festival. So that was the understanding that I got. When something is obvious, you can't try to stop it. You make it auspicious. So they had a big festival, 3-day festival, that really eclipsed when he became the festival when he became a calf herder or Vatsapa. Okay, thank you very much, Prabhupada ki. Jai.
Jai. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Haribol, Prabhupada. We have quick announcements, those who are on the Zoom. I'll give a minute or so.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for wonderful class.
Number 6. Okay, we'll have announcements. Madhubal,